That makes no sense.
I'm like, oh no, because it was an unauthorized purchase. And I said, how is it an unauthorized purchase? Number one, we haven't even paid for it yet. Number two, I did not know that this was creating a financial obligation to us. Otherwise, I would have, right as soon as I got the email from all of you guys that it was canceled, I would have emailed them and told them. Because it was literally like 5 days after I found out that the trip was canceled that that was the cutoff. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so because of the lack
Welcome everyone who has joined.
Hello. Oh, it's not your, it's not? Okay, I will do that right now. Yep.
How's everyone doing this afternoon?
Doing fine.
Yeah, I understand it's pretty nice out in Bismarck, at least. 43 degrees and the sun is shining. Not bad for a Friday, but in the middle of late November. Carol, I want your hat.
Is my mic on?
It
It
is.
is. Oh my gosh, I thought it was off. But I got it at Walmart for $6.
I love it even more.
It's my Braves Friday hat. Lisa, Saint Germain, can you hear me? I couldn't, I made everyone a professional account, but because you were at another school and you had a different account, I couldn't change it. So, or maybe well, I'm gonna look. Maybe I can with your bell card, what you call. Do you remember if you had an account like at another school? On the Are You Ready professional account?
Yeah, I guess I don't know about another school. I mean, I've used Are You Ready before for transition, but I checked yesterday and I used my Belcourt email address and I was able to get in. So I think I'm okay. Yep.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Yep, no problem.
Are you correct? Are you connected to the right school as well? Are you connected to the high school, Turtle Mountain Community High School?
I believe I should be. Yep.
Okay. Perfect. While we're waiting, for those of you that are not yet signed into your professional center account, that would be helpful if you could get signed in.
Did you get it?
What was it that you asked us to sign into?
Your RUReady.nd.gov professional center account. I understand that an account was created for each of you by Candace.
I got it. Thank you.
Okay.
I know what I did. I created the account, you guys, so if you have any troubles getting in, just let me know.
Okay.
So it's your fault?
Does it look like we have most of the people here that you're expecting? Should I give it another minute? And it is just 1 on the dot, so.
I'd say go ahead and get started.
All right. Okay, well, we're all here today for RUReadyND.gov training for professional users at the Belcourt Public School District. I'm Laura Glauser. I work for North Dakota Career and Technical Education, and I've been working with the Are You Ready product for over 20 years. So anytime you have questions about using Are You Ready, I am your go-to person and I can help you out. That's my contact information if you want to jot it down, but you are going to get a copy of my presentation as well, and we are recording today's session. So we'll share the PowerPoint and the recording. So if you all wouldn't mind keeping your microphones muted unless you need to speak. If you have questions, you know, if it's something that you want to ask right away, don't hesitate to speak up. But if it's just something you want to make sure gets covered today, you can drop the question in the chat. And then if for any reason I'm not able to answer your question during today's session, I'll follow up and answer it by email. If you lose your place or have trouble navigating as I'm going through things, also speak
Yeah, I
up.
got it.
And what you're going to be doing is following along in your own professional center account. So that's why I asked those of you that were online already about a minute or two ago to sign into your professional center. So if there are any of you that missed that message, please go ahead and sign into your Are You Ready Indeed professional center account. And you're probably going to want to keep the window open where I'm going to present my PowerPoint and your professional center open, both of those on the same window, because I'm going to demonstrate and you're going to be able to follow along. I am still admitting a few people to the meeting, so I might repeat that just one more time, that thanks to everyone that's joined us today. And then please sign into your professional center account. Oh, I should have waited just another minute or two. All right. So we have a very good turnout today. So just for the people who just joined, this is being recorded. Kindly mute your microphone unless you have any questions, and then please sign into your professional center account. What our goal today is so that you will learn and be comfortable using RUReadyND.gov and the RUReadyND.gov Professional Center. I'm going to show you how to use reports and some of the insight into the education and career interests that you can see through those reports, and also how you can integrate some existing lesson plans into classes and help your students use their RUReadyND.gov accounts. As a professional, you're always going to sign into the RUReadyND.gov Professional Center. You'll never, as a professional, sign straight into RUReadyND.gov. You will always log into the procenter.ruready.nd.gov site. And when you hit that landing page, you're going to see that you have a number of tabs where you can see students and groups, reports, resources, communication, work-based learning, college and applications, and some of you are going to see an administration tab, but not all of you. Not everyone needs site administrator access. That is something that's usually only a person or two at a school will have, because they are able to change things that make a big impact on the site that affect all users, all the student users. So administrators are able to customize the assignment builder, surveys, scholarships. They can manage other professional accounts. Like Carol had said, she created accounts for many of you. You can customize milestones and change some local settings. Other than that, the sites are going to look the same. So just a few of you at most would have administration access. And I'm going to pause here because I know that many of you had your account created on your behalf, and I'm going to show you something from my own account. Oh, I think I might have to use a different account. But I want you to create the secret question and an answer for your professional center account, because without that, you're not going to be able to reset your own password. Okay, I'm using an alternate account here. So let's see. I want you all to be able to reset your own password. So what I would like you to do is within your professional center, hover over your name in the upper right-hand corner, click on My Profile, and then you're going to scroll down to where you see your security question, and underneath that, you're going to be able to plug in your answer. So I want you to create a security question and then probably keep it fairly simple, because you're going to want to be able to answer it without thinking about it too much, but a question that only you would know the answer to. And once you have done that, you have it saved, you'd be able to reset your own password. Because otherwise, if you need to reset your password, I have to refer you to Zap customer support. It's not something that I can do, or Carol or Candace or anybody else at the school. It's something that only the support with Zap Corporation can do. Is everybody able to do that? And we'll get back on track with the workshop content. All right. What I want you to do is you can go back to the home screen of the Professional Center, and you can always do that by clicking on the Are You Ready logo in the upper left-hand corner. That'll always take you back to the landing page. And on the landing page, I would like you to click on Students and Groups. That's the tab where you're going to find where all of the student accounts are that are connected to your school. There's also a badge underneath. Both of those will take you to the same place. But once you're in the students and groups, you're going to see that you can search for student accounts by first name or last name. You can browse by class. You can browse by last name. And there's a little handy tool called the Student Finder that you can use as well. And I think you can all understand, how to search for a student by name or grade. But I'd like you to click on the Student Finder and see what that can do, and some of the account characteristics you can select from to pull certain student accounts out. It's not a fully functional report tool, but it's great if you want to see just students perhaps that have or have not taken the Career Cluster survey. And I'm going to sign into my own account again, and I'm not going to demonstrate from any of the Belcourt schools because this is being recorded for future use. We wouldn't want to have any actual student information recorded. So I'm just going to access what we call the North Dakota training site. So this is all fake student information that you'll see, and I don't have a lot of student information in this site, period. But I could easily find out who had completed the interest profiler by clicking that radio button or toggle it to not completed. Maybe I want all students to complete it, and I'd be able to see who hadn't completed.
It's basically a book of like all of your training certifications, your awards, your NTOERs, like important documents, right? Because you get a lot of them while you're in the military and you're expected to be able to produce them or show them at any time.
I'm not sure who needs to mute their mic, or if it's coming through kind of garbled, and I don't think it's a question for us.
I did 20 years in the military, and sometimes I really don't know how I did it. Like, I'm 5 foot.
Coy, is that you or Dr. Stace? I think that might be you, Dr. Stacy.
There were a couple instances.
Going through and muting participants there, I think.
I wasn't crying. I was like on the verge of tears because I really felt like if it was real life during training, I was going to die.
All right, I think we're good. Everybody still there? All right. So that student finder is a handy little tool. And one very important thing that you're all going to need to know is how do the students at Belcourt access their RUReadyND.gov account? And you're a little bit unique because your student accounts are populated into RUReadyND.gov automatically, but you don't use PowerSchool. So we are maintaining your student accounts at the state level, but your students are going to sign directly into the RUReady.nd.gov site. And they use this name convention to sign in. It is nd.lastname.firstname, and then their date of birth, and it's the full 8-digit date of birth. So if they were born on February 1st, they would need to put in 0201 and then the full year. The very first time they log in, their password is going to be the 8-digit date of birth as well. Now, some tips about that. Again, you know, they're all automatically created by the reporting that your school is doing to DPI. Now, the student's password starts out as their date of birth, but they're going to be prompted to change that the very first time they log in, and you will never be able to see what their actual password is. You're only able to reset that password. And as long as that student attends a North Dakota public school, their RUReady account will always move with them. You know, it's going to follow them from the middle school to the high school or from school to school if they move, you know, across the state. But once students graduate, they can also continue to use that same account. And none of your students can actually create their own accounts. All accounts have to be created through the management of, like I'm sure you're plugging their data into STARS, and that's how their account is created. You cannot create an account, nor can the student create an account for themselves that is connected to your school. Now I'd like you to flip over to the Reports tab. Maybe you want to see what your students have been doing in RUReady. So the reports are going to show a summary of results for the entire school. Plus, you're easily able to see what each individual student is doing that produces those results. All of you as professionals have access to the reports. So I'd like you to click on Reports on the main menu. And you're going to find a reports dashboard. There you can see the total number of accounts connected to the school, the total number of logins year to date, the top completed activities, top saved careers, and then a little chart of logins by month. Now, at Belcourt, you actually have two RUReady sites. You have a site for the high school for students in grades 9 through 12, but there's also a site for the middle school, and that is for students in grades 6 through 8. I don't know, and maybe one of you can answer and confirm this for me, if the Turtle Mountain Community Alternative School is still active. I know there are no students connected to that site, and I don't know if it's been determined that it's closed or if it's just inactive. But just know that that site is still out there if you begin to use that and begin using and enrolling students in the alternative school. That site is still active. I did a screenshot of activity at both the high school and the middle school, and this might be what you are looking at in your own account right now, but for students in grades 9 through 12, the usage data as of November 20th, you had 403 total accounts, 39 logins year to date. The top completed activities, interest profiler, career cluster survey, and the work value sorter. Top saved careers, accountant, astronomer, aircraft service attendant, animal scientist, and animal trainer. So it's kind of fun to see that right on the dashboard. And it appears that most of the students, there was a spike probably at the very beginning of the school year. And I don't know how many of you also work with students at the middle school, but it appears that there's no usage at the middle school, and I want to encourage that usage because it can really help the student have built their portfolio and start doing that career planning earlier. And once the students would begin using their accounts at the middle school, you'll see that engagement, and then those accounts would transfer automatically to the high school. So those students could begin using those assessments and things in RUReady as early as the 6th grade. Okay, for the purpose of today's training now, we're going to click back to I'm going to click back to the report screen. I want my screen to look a little more like yours because I have it resized. I'm going to size back down so you can see what I'm doing. We're going to click on reports, and for the purpose of today's training, we're going to take a look at progress reports. So on the reports screen, if you look on the dashboard, you can click on progress, and you'll see there's an assignment curriculum builder, a milestones, and a work-based learning report. Now, the assignment curriculum set that is assigned to your school, I do believe you're using the latest set that's been updated by the state, but could also be customized by a site administrator at the school. So that would be something you can run a report on. And there are also assessment reports. You don't have access to all of these assessments, so I'm going to start by mentioning the basic skills survey and then the career cluster survey. And then it appears that you're using the work value sorter survey quite a bit. So on your own RUReady account, I'd like you to try to create a report. You'll never mess anything up by attempting to create a report. You can input any of the information that you'd like in the criteria and see what kind of data you get back. For my own purpose here, I'm going to pick on assessments and see who's done the career cluster survey. Zap, which is the company that we purchased the customized RUReady product from, they are updating the reports dashboard right now. And for the time being, you have to click the report type twice. So that's temporary. So I'm going to need to click Career Cluster Survey again, but I can choose criteria. And I'd advise you to keep your criteria simple. You know, if you start to drill down too much right off the bat, you might actually exclude all results. So I am just going to take any results. So I'm going to click continue. And maybe because it appears there was more usage last year, I want to know how many students completed the career cluster survey last year. So I'm just going to click the radio button for last school year. And whether or not you include active accounts means, are you including accounts for students that have signed in only? So if it's only active accounts, the student would have had to have signed in to RUReady during the time frame you select. And I actually don't want to do that. I just want to know if they've completed the career cluster survey at some point. And I'm going to click continue. I like visuals, so I'm going to leave the radio button for graphs on and create a report. Now again, I don't have very many accounts in my training site, but I can see that the one student that has completed it, these are the results. You're going to see much more data on your end, and it'll be accurate for your school. But let's pretend here we've got more results, and I can see that the student whose top cluster was education and training. I wonder who that is. All I'd have to do is click on the hyperlinked number, and it would bring up the student accounts that was their top cluster. Okay, so that's an example of running a report. And again, you can go through and run as many reports as you want. And as soon as you have something perfected, you can save that report. One tip I'll mention about reports as well is if you can see in the upper right-hand corner that once you have a report, you have options to print, save, and export that report. If you print, you're just going to see the same information that's on your screen. But if you export it, it's going to export it to Excel. So you'd be able to sort the data, filter it, maybe link it to other data. And often you get a little bit more data than you do when you're just looking at it on the screen. For example, most reports will include the state student ID. So it's easy to match it up for with other reports that you might have done out of other systems. Well, this might be the point where some of you are thinking, well, this is all great. You know, we're talking about this, but I don't have the time to do this. I don't have time to do lesson plans. Well, I'm here to assure you that there are tons of lesson plans that are already created, and there's quick reference guides to help you at any step in the process. So you don't need to know it all at once. You can learn it as you go, and you can rely on the quick reference guides to brush up on certain items before you go into a classroom. And we'll be looking at some of the lesson plans that are available. So I'd like you all to click on resources in the main menu, and we're going to take a look around. The first page that you land on is quick reference guides. I'm going to point out that, you know, if you're not familiar with all the assessments in Are You Ready? There is a quick reference guide that's going to explain what each assessment is. And I'm going to toggle back and go to resources. And maybe I want to know, like, okay, what's this career cluster survey? And there you go. We'll explain the survey and administration and some frequently asked questions. I mentioned the assignment and curriculum builder earlier, and not only is there a recorded session that you'd be able to participate in to or view to learn more, there's also quick reference guides for the assignment and curriculum, which is essentially like a My Career academic plan that students can use. We like to call it the MyCap, but it's already been set up in your site. Now, I'll point out that underneath the resources, there's a separate tab for lesson plans. If you click on that, you're going to see some of the lesson plans that I just talked about. The resources tab, that's not a comprehensive list of resources. This resources tab is basically the resources that we have at the state level. So that would take you back to where you can contact this office, my office, and some information about workshops. And there's also some elementary level resources that you can access there. The K-5 product is Pause and Jobland. So if you want to share that resource with the elementary school, you could let them know that there is career development available for the K-5 students, even PK to 5, and that would be Pause and Jobland. And you could connect me when I can show them these resources and a little bit more about Pause and Jobland. Also listed on the resources menu is Compass, which Patrick Minear has joined us today, and he's going to be taking you through Compass to help you learn more about that product. There's resources for Career View XR, and that's the virtual reality career exploration. So you could explore that. And Methodize is ACT test prep that is available for students in grades 9 through 12. So there are resources for all of these products that have been integrated into Are You Ready right within the professional center as well. So I'd like to invite you all to click on the lesson plans, and I'm going to point out that you can see just this many lesson plans here on the page. You know, maybe you'd think, oh, there's like maybe 50 or 60. There's actually about 200, because when you click on these tabs under the headings, you're going to see that there are many lesson plans for each one. So I clicked on the College and Career Readiness curriculum, and on career exploration and planning, and that blew out all of these bullets so you could see all of the lesson plans that are included in that section. There's also the career planning class. I clicked on that by selecting this section, lesson plans, career planning class, and it pulls up a full list of lesson plans sorted alphabetically, but it shows what grade level they're best suited for and what the career planning goal might be for that lesson plan. If you're following along, just select one. I'm going to pick create a job ad so we can see what a lesson plan looks like. You open that lesson plan, it has a summary, has the objective, time needed, the resources that you'd want to have available, the Ask a Mindset and Behavior information, basically a script and a full walkthrough of what you need to do to use that lesson plan. And this particular lesson plan does not have a student worksheet, but many do. So you'd already have a worksheet that's ready to go. I'm going to click on another one here. This was a Heroes, and you can see that this one has a worksheet for students. You're able to download these. You're welcome to modify them as much as you would like. You don't need permission to do that, but they are ready to go. So I'd like to give you all a minute to just take a look at the lesson plans in your own site. And if anybody has any questions right now while others might be looking, I invite you to ask questions. Okay, well, I welcome you to return to the lesson plans and just take a look around and investigate some of the lesson plans at your own convenience. Okay, so I'd like you to click on the Are You Ready Professional Center logo in the upper left because we're going to return to the home page. And remember, you can always do that. Just click on that logo in the upper left. Maybe just by a show of hands, we could see, I mean, are there any of you that also work with the middle school, or do you all work with the high school students? If there's, because I'd like to note that if you also work with the middle school, you can add a connection to the middle school from your existing professional account. You only need one professional account ever, and you can be connected to all the schools that you serve. I'm going to pull my screen over here again and show you that, maybe you want to learn like, well, I'm seeing what it looks like for a professional, but how would I see what my students see? That's what you have a demo account for. And the demo account is this yellow block on your Professional Center landing page. And if you click on it, you're going to see that you are prompted to choose the role that you'd like to view the site as and the grade. So I do want to see it from this perspective of a high school student, but maybe the 10th grade, because maybe I've done some customizations that I want specifically 10th graders to see, and I want to see what it looks like for them. So I'm going to choose high school student 10th grade and click Open Demo Account. And you'll see that the demo account, which is a student view, opens in a new tab. Now, if any of you didn't get that new tab to open, watch for pop-up blocker, because if you have that pop-up blocker, you might need to enable this site. But I can see on the landing page for a student, I see the My Career and Academic Plan. That's tied into that assignment and curriculum builder. This student has 13 activities assigned. I can see that here on the left side menu, and I can also see it here that they've completed 1 out of 13 activities. Is there a question? Okay. The student from their landing page has quick access to their Compass profile, work-based learning opportunities, and work-based learning experiences. If they're a student in grades 9 through 12, they're also going to have access to Methodize. And then we have links to the career technical student organizations in North Dakota, a video list of videos that are in Are You Ready as a whole, and then also a link to the CareerView XR videos that are embedded into Are You Ready and D.gov. So the CareerView XR is the virtual reality career exploration. The fully immersive experience are viewed through a VR headset, and then someone at the school would download the videos to the headset. But every one of those videos that's the fully immersive experience with the VR headset has an accompanying enhanced video experience. And the students could view all of these just through that CareerView XR videos link. Or if they were researching being a bricklayer, this video would also be in the description for the bricklayer occupation. All right, I'm going to
At the school?
I'm sorry, was that a question or just maybe we picked up on somebody's mic? Okay. All right, I live demoed that, but I'd like to take you back to the student account again. And I would like you to go through the student menu. This is your opportunity to be familiar with what the students are seeing. So I'd like you to click on the career planning tab. And you can either click on the tab, or if you hover, it will bring up the items that are on that page. So if you were to I'm going to go back to the home page. If you just hover, you can see the tabs come up, or you can click and it would open the new page, and those same tabs are going to be reflected on the screen. Learn About Yourself is the page where the students are going to find the assessments. My demo account student here, I can see that they have attempted using the interest profiler, but they haven't completed. And please know that once a student has started one of the assessments, their work is saved. They don't have to complete it all in one sitting. The Career Cluster Survey, the student completed it October 3rd, 2025. And if I were to open this and take a look at my results, I have the option to take it again, which is a really good thing, because based on this student's results, I think that it was the kind of day that maybe a student had where they're just checking the boxes and nothing is standing out in the results. So if you ever saw a student who maybe you thought, you know what, you just went through and you clicked on all of the answers quickly, they can always take it again. Maybe they were having a bad day, but they could take it again and they can start from scratch. Okay, so those assessments were on the Learn About Yourself page. And a bonus with all of these assessments, fit the state mandate for having the career assessment administered to a student in grade 7 or 8, and again in 9 or 10. So those would be the interest profiler, the career cluster survey, the basic skills survey, and the Compass Profiler for sure. Those are all on the DPI list that's on DPI's website as being assessments that fit that state mandate. You hover over the high school planning menu. That's where students can find one of the options for the plan of study in Are You Ready? There's also an option for the plan of study in Compass, and that plan of study has been endorsed by DPI for completion. Patrick's going to cover that for you today. But there's a high school planning timeline and some succeeding in high school tips for students. Under college planning, they can explore post-secondary schools. They can do a practice college application and start planning for college in Are You Ready? They can explore programs and majors. They can explore by career cluster. They can search by program or major. And everything that they look at that they like, they have the opportunity to save it to their portfolio. Under financial aid, a lot of the things you might expect. They can search for scholarships. There's a scholarship module in Are You Ready, which students can build a portfolio for scholarships, or they can even just search for scholarships. And there are literally thousands of scholarships available to students in Are You Ready that are kept up to date by Super College. But in the professional center, if you're a site administrator, you can also add local scholarships that students would be able to find in the scholarship module. And then students have their portfolio, which contains their profile, where all of their future goals that they have made and their action plans they've put in place. This is all saved for them right here. And the wonderful part about it is if I were to click back to my professional center and show you reports, these items are things that you can run reports for. Okay, so we have covered this content. Again, when students see that number on their menu for, like in this example I'm showing on the screen now, they've completed 5 out of 10 activities. That's driven by the assignment curriculum set that's assigned to students. So if you have not recently taken a look at that assignment curriculum, you can become familiar, if you're an administrator, by looking at it. It's in its entirety in the professional center. But if you are someone without site administrator access, you could do it through your demo account. You could look to see what each grade level you serve is seeing when they sign in. Through the demo account, you could also see what parents see, because any parent can have an account connected to Are You Ready? And they could also be connected to their student's account. So, you know, if they're a parent or guardian, they could ask that that student share the access to their account with them, and they would be able to see the student's plan of study, any careers they saved, and other content like that. I'm going to pause to see if you have any questions. This is just a very high level overview of Are You Ready? So you can all be familiar with it. And this will also prepare you for some future trainings, because there are some recorded trainings that are available now that are going to be posted on the CTE website early next week. So if you wanted to learn about how to use the assignment curriculum builder, there's a recorded session for that. And there's going to be other recorded sessions that are going to be published soon. Mentioned the Methodized ACT test prep. That's training that's going to become available in January. Patrick Minear has some Compass resources that are already available on the website and on his own website, so you can learn more about how to use Compass. But this provides you the basic knowledge of how to get into Are You Ready and use the site and prepare you for future training. I'll open it for questions and I'll stop talking. And if there are no questions, I'm going to invite Patrick Minear to take over.
Hello, everybody. Can you all hear me okay? Can you see me?
I can see you.
Okay, perfect. Well, thanks everybody for the time, and appreciate, especially on a Friday afternoon, you all spending some time to go a little bit deeper into all this stuff with us. Like Laura said, my name is Patrick Minear, and I'm the CEO and founder of Golden Pass Solutions. We're based in Fargo. And essentially what we do is we've got a lot of different things that are part of Are You Ready? We have some things that are delivered to you all through the Pro Center. And then we also have some functionality that stands kind of on its own. But at the end of the day, what we're trying to do is we want to help students understand their skills based on their real experiences that they've had in high school, including their classes that they're in, the activities that they're in, the hobbies they're in. And then also, how do we help make real connections between you all, between students, and even between employers and colleges across the state? And so sometimes I kind of talk about there's a lot of resources in the system that help students kind of understand just what's out there in general. But then what we're trying to do is how do we help students understand what's here locally in North Dakota? So I'm going to share my screen, and hopefully you all can see this here pretty soon. And then I will kind of do similar to Laura. I'll have some slides that I'll share, and then I will also have some, I'll do a demo and kind of walk you all through some of this. So let me know when you can see my screen.
Looks
Okay,
good.
I'm guessing you all can see it. Okay, so a quick refresher of what Compass is. I already talked a little bit about this, but essentially there are 4 different groups of people that are logging into Compass and doing things, whether they're adding information, managing students, or looking at opportunities that they're out there. And I'm going to focus primarily on the school professionals piece and the students piece. And I want to show you some demos for both. But kind of like what Laura said, within the Pro Center, what we're trying to do is give you all tools to manage information and manage processes within your schools. A big part of what we're working on is helping manage work-based learning processes, everything from students seeing what's out there, helping employers publish opportunities to schools, the application process, the agreement process. How do we give students real-world experiences that hopefully will help them make decisions on what they want to do after they graduate? We help facilitate career exploration. Again, we leverage a lot of the tools that Laura already talked about, including like ONET and career interest inventories. But we also want to help students understand how their actual experiences in high school can tie into their career. And that's when the 4-year rolling plan comes into play. Essentially, the 4-year rolling plan being a map of what the student's going to do in high school. We offer students a way to capture that in Compass, and then we use that information to match them to opportunities. And then we also want to provide you all a way to connect with employers for you to find the employers that are willing to offer different things, like come to a career fair or come talk to a class, or even offer different internships or cooperative work experiences or summer jobs. And then finally, we want to give you all a conduit into the employer, what they need for future workforce. So what are the skills that they need? What are the latest technologies? What are the schools that employers are working with? We kind of want to get all that in your hands, which ultimately can then help inform curriculum for the school and for the student. And then for students, it's kind of all the same things. We want to help them understand what their skills are, give them a roadmap of things that they might want to try while they're in high school to help them land a certain career or get a certain job, but also give them a roadmap on what should I take or what types of things might I be interested in or might want to explore to get me ready for something in the future. And then also, how do we create direct connections between them and employers and colleges? One of the reasons we started Golden Path in the first place is that last bullet under students, which is how do we help students understand opportunities or programs where an employer might help pay for their post-secondary school cost in exchange for work commitment. We call those sponsorships. So that is kind of a high-level overview of what we do. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start with your experience in the Pro Center and in a system we've built called the Compass Console. And then I'm going to show you what the student sees, just so you're kind of familiar with that. Okay? Any questions about any of this so far? Kind of like Laura, I want this to be very interactive. So if you do have any questions, raise your hand or interrupt me. I can get into the zone and talk a lot if any of you have been in my trainings. I'm going to log into a training school. You all can follow along if you want in the Pro Center, just like you did with Laura. And I'll walk you through some of what you can see and especially around what the student is putting in. So within the Pro Center, the parts that integrate with Compass are primarily going to be under resources and work-based learning. And if you think about our mission, our goal, it's to drive those connections. Well, one of the best ways of doing that is work-based learning. So that's why we are why our stuff is kind of embedded in this tab here. If any of you don't see the work-based learning tab, put a quick note in the chat and then we can get you set up or we'll follow up with you later. But when you go into the work-based learning tab, there are some tabs around organizations, opportunities, applications, experiences, and evaluations that are tied to the work-based learning process. And then there's this tab here called the Compass Console. And that's kind of a way for us to share a lot of our functionality with you, where we can kind of control what you see and we can control the and things like that. Whereas everything here is controlled more by Zap, the company that is doing that builds RUready. But I do want to focus on a couple things on this tab. For organizations, these are employers that have chosen to share their information with you all. So when an employer creates an account in Compass, they choose the schools that they want to connect with, and then they share information like, who are we? What types of things are we willing to offer a school? Call those participation interests. What's my career cluster? Am I offering any opportunities, any work-based learning opportunities? And there are some things here that you do to approve these organizations so that students can see them. I'm not going to talk a lot about that, but I just wanted you to see this database of employers. And one thing I would love to follow up with you on after we're done with this call is how can we help get some of your local employers, and that could be government agencies, tribal government, it could be local not-for-profits, could be long-term care. All sorts of different organizations are willing sometimes to offer student experiences that play into work-based learning. And then for each of these, you can drill in, you can see contacts, you can see phone numbers and emails and descriptions. And I'll show you where you can actually see a little bit more information in the Compass console. And then opportunities, these are actual work experiences that organizations are willing to share with students. And these could be summer jobs, mentorship opportunities, co-ops, all sorts of things. I'm going to go into the Compass console and show you a few things there, and then I'm going to come back and go into RUready? So if you guys want to follow along, if you go into the Compass console and then click the button here, it's going to open up a new tab. And now this is something that we are using to give you a little bit more functionality around things like the 4-year plan, the employer list, and some different things. First thing you'll see is you'll land on your student list. So if you've had students update Compass, and I know that last spring there was quite a few students that were updating Compass, you should see all of their names. You can see their Holland codes. You can see how many classes they put into their profile. And you can also download 4-year plan data that you can use for the Choice Ready report. You can also drill into every one of these students. So we will talk a little bit about what students do in Compass in just a few minutes, but you can actually see what are the classes the student has put in, whether those are classes that they've taken. You can see if they liked it or not. And for classes that are in the future with the 4-year plan, you can kind of see what the student is thinking about doing. The student puts in activities, hobbies, personality. You can see what their Holland codes are. If any of you do career advising with students, you can see the opportunities that the student matches. And again, I'm going to go drill into this in a little bit more detail when we talk about the student experience. So you can see all that information, and then you can download data, which you can use to upload into any reporting systems that you need. Under My Employers, this is where you can see a little bit more detail about the employers that are sharing opportunities with schools. You can sort by career cluster, you can sort by industry, you can sort by connection type. So if I wanted to know who are the organizations, maybe in health science, that are willing to come to a career fair, I can click on those filters, and now all these employers that are listed here are companies that are sharing their information with me that would be willing to come to a career fair. You guys might see different ones for your school. I can download that to Excel, and then I can very quickly, if I want, I can send out a blanket email, just copy all these emails and just send it out. So it's pretty slick. If you want, you can actually create employers yourself. So you can add an employer, put in some of their information, anything here that's asterisk is required, and then you can actually invite the primary contact, and they'll get an email invitation from Golden Path so that they can be in your database. And when you do that, that employer's information will only be shared with your school, but if the employer wants, they can add more schools to it. You can also create events, and you can invite employers to those events directly in Compass. So if I wanted to create a career fair, or let's say that I wanted to invite manufacturers to a class that's talking about that, maybe a welding class or something, I could put in the event name, contact information, an overview of what this is, a little bit of more information, which we can provide information on. There's guides for all of this, but then you can actually select who are the employers that I want to invite. I can sort by industry or career cluster. I can restrict by zip code if I want, or I can just invite all the employers that are, say, within a 50-mile radius of wherever the location is happening. And when you submit this, we will be able to send notifications out to all of those employers, and they actually get a notice. There might be an interesting event that I want to sign up for. You can provide links and all that good stuff. So that's pretty, it's kind of a way that we give you the ability to communicate with employers. The last thing I'll show, well, actually 2 more things I'll show you here. I'm not going to go deep into this, but for work-based learning, we talked a little bit about how our system helps manage this process. We work with Zap and with Dawn Ulmer and with Laura to basically manage work-based learning processes from the employer's publishing opportunities and you approving them, to student applications that you can approve and forward on to the employer. We can help manage agreements, whether that be safety agreements, maybe a work-based learning agreement, even permission slips. We can do all of that electronically with signatures, and we have workflows where you could say, I want the student to sign it, then the parent, then the employer, and then you, if you want. And then we can also do evaluations and reflections. How is the student, what did they get out of the experience? Did they like it? So that's pretty cool. With the 4-year plan, if you're using Compass for the 4-year plan, you can also update your class lists in Compass. And this is for a test school. If you all were to log in and look at your class list, you would see what we loaded on your behalf, and then you can make changes. So basically what we do is we start with a PowerSchool export. We load it into Compass. You can turn certain classes on or off. You can change the names of them. You can add new classes, or you can delete classes and even archive them. So maybe you offered it in the past, but you're never going to offer it again, but students still have it on their transcript. And you can download courses. You can update them in spreadsheets and load them back in. And then you can also see what are the fields that students see. Some of this is information for you, but we can help you understand what is it that a student is going to see, so you can make sure that those things are accurate and that they make sense to the student. We do have a class in the ND Education Hub that describes how to update your course lists, how to do imports and exports. But if you ever have any questions, please reach out directly to me or Laura, and we can help you figure that out. So those are some of the tools that I wanted to share with you that are for your benefit. I now want to go into Are You Ready and show you kind of the student experience. But are there any questions about anything I've shared yet so far? Are you all doing? Hopefully everybody's doing okay. There's a lot of information that we're throwing at you, so hopefully all is good. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go now into Are You Ready? And again, I'm going to use test student so we don't share anything that we shouldn't share. But this is, again, what the student sees when they first log into Are You Ready? And I'm going to go to the Compass profile. I'm going to spend most of my time here. So this is our application. It's embedded within RUReady, so the student doesn't have to manage different logins. But there are essentially 4 things that we like to do with students. Have them update their profile. This would be the 4-year rolling plan. View their results. This is where we use their information to calculate their Holland codes. But if you're using one of the RUReady interest inventories, you can put their Holland codes in without the student having to do their profile. The student can view their opportunities. This again includes employers, careers, college programs, events, work-based learning, etc. And then finally, we have some activities that the student can do within Compass. Most of the activities that a student will do are going to be in other parts of RUReady, but that's kind of our navigation here. And we are rolling out a new homepage that has a little bit more interaction and guidance for the student. This is still what would default for the student today when they log in. For the profile, for the students that have actually already done this, this might look a little familiar, but this is where the student adds their classes, their activities, and their hobbies. And essentially, this is what the 4-year rolling plan is. So the student would probably start doing this in 8th grade. They would update it at least once a year after 8th grade. We actually recommend twice a year, maybe once in the fall and then again in early after the first semester is over. And what the student can do is they can put in what they liked about, or if they like the class or not. If they want, they can put in their grade, the actual grade that they got. They can add comments if they want, it's not required. The more information they put in, the more accurate our assessment is going to be of their skills. You may wonder, how do we figure out what the skills are? So for each of these things, for agriculture or for art, there are Holland codes associated with each of these activities. So as a student adds them to their profile, or they tell us what activities they're in, could be sports, could be clubs, could be student council, what they like to do in their free time. All of those things we amalgamate together and then can tell the student what their Holland codes are. And we actually feel like in some ways that's a better assessment than a questionnaire, because sometimes questionnaires focus on things that the student may not have done yet, especially the younger students. So that's how we kind of incorporate the 4-year rolling plan and an interest inventory into one process, which we can then also use to match the student to opportunities. So after the student puts all this in, they can go to Holland codes. This will tell them that out of the 6 Holland codes, what are their top Holland codes, their next ones. And then we can basically use this to match the student to opportunities. In this case, the student is really artistic, and then conventional and realistic are close behind. Like I said, if you're using a different system for the 4-year plan, you can actually input Holland codes, or the student can input Holland codes on their own. All they need to do is open up this button here, click Use Custom Holland Codes, and then they just slide what their first one is, their second one, their third one. And then we will use that for matching to the student. So just wanted to make sure that y'all knew that. Last thing I want to focus on before we open it up for questions are the opportunities. And this is where we're really now trying to help the student get connected directly to the employers, the careers, the college programs that they're fit for, and also help the student understand what are the ones that they might be a fit for, which ones may not, if they don't want to go to school at all, which ones might be willing to offer jobs right out of high school, which ones are maybe in their career cluster, maybe which ones are even close to them. And we have processes that we follow with employers where we're building these career profiles all the time. So some of you may have received emails from Golden Path saying there's a new career profile available for your school, or a new event, or just different things. Essentially, this is where all those things show up. So I'll kind of walk through a couple examples of these. essentially, what we do, like I said, is we take the students' schools, their classes, their activities, their hobbies, and we calculate their Holland codes. And that's what drives this match. So this particular student that I'm logged in as is a good fit for this Harveststone Bismarck sponsorship, BSc sponsorship. I can open it up. The student can see a little bit more about what this is. They can understand the location. They can open the profile, and then they can actually see information about this particular job. They can actually also go, I think I might have gotten logged out here. Let me refresh real quick. The student can view pictures, they can view videos, they can see what programs are required for them. Basically, just a lot of different information that's available to them that they can see, along with links that takes them back to maybe ONET or different things that they might be interested in. The student can also, if they want, they can click a little box that says that they're interested. They can favorite it. Laura kind of talked about that. We might have links that are important to them. And there's some other information here that might be useful for the student to figure out if they want to do this. Let's say that they thought that that was an interesting job, or this St. Aloysius opportunity. They can also click on the employer and they can see information about the employer itself. Like, who is it? What do they do? What types of opportunities are they offering? What does a day in the life look like? What jobs are they offering? All of that information is available to the student, even social media links. And our goal here, again, is just how do we help this student understand more about what this employer does and what they're offering. There are some functions that we're building that will allow you to manage job shadow processes. So students now can actually say that they're interested in a job shadow if they want, if that's something that you're using. If they are interested in a job shadow, you can approve those and actually send emails to the employer saying a student is interested in a job shadow, and then the employer can approve that or not approve that if they want. The student can even basically say, I'm interested in a job shadow, but they're not in the system, or I don't even have an employer in mind, but I just have a job that I'm kind of like interested to learn more about. And what we're trying to do here is if the student does have a contact, our hope would be that if they're not in Compass, you can invite them. And if the student just puts in a job, we can look through our connections database, we can look through our networks, and then we can connect that student with a job shadow that hopefully will be a really great experience for them. In terms of getting to know the company, getting to know if this is something that the student wants to do. I mentioned a little bit that we can also promote college programs to students. So we're working on getting all of the North Dakota colleges, the tribal schools into Compass. We have about 7 that are in right now. But in this model, the student would be able to go in, view the college, view information about their amenities, their programs, see what programs they might be a fit for. And then if they want, they can actually drill into those, and then they can see what are the employers that are hiring from this program, what are related career profiles for that program, and then the student can click and navigate to those and then learn more about the employer and their careers and any work-based learning that they're offering. So we're really trying to give the student a roadmap. Here's how you can get connected to an employer. Here's how you can get connected to a college program. Maybe a good employer is offering a scholarship or some kind of sponsorship program. Are there other benefits that are available? Laura mentioned the scholarship tools in RUReady. We're really trying to give the student a good sense of how they can navigate all of that information. One other thing that the student can do if they want, it's totally optional, but you might have noticed this Connect Me to Employers piece here. We at Golden Path have relationships with employers where we can also help make connections to a specific person at an employer if the student either doesn't want to or if they want some help getting matched. So essentially, this defaults to no initially, but if a student wants, they can click this to yes. We do require consent of a guardian or a parent if they're under 18. And what the student would do is put in an email or a phone number. And then once we get that consent of the parent or guardian, then we can see some of the student's information. And then we could basically reach out to that student and say, you look like you'd be a great fit for this employer. Would you like an introduction? And then we can actually make that introduction, whether it be a meeting or an email or whatever. But that's one of the things that we like to do for students that want it, is to make those connections. That's also something that maybe some of you on this call could manage, because when a student clicks on this and sets it to yes or pending, you actually will see that student's status here. And so you'll see this searchable that is set. It'll be either yes, no, or pending. And then you'll know that that student is interested in making connections that maybe you're even trying to drive for the student. I'm going to pause there, and there's a couple more tips and tricks I want to share with you before we wrap up. But any questions on the student experience? And like Laura said, we have a lot of resources available to you that you can use both in the classroom, that you can also use with employers, that you can even use with students. So one scenario, we're trying to build more scenarios for you all on how this all like really works and how it comes to life. So one couple examples that I wanted to share is, let's say that you were looking to have an event at the school where maybe you're wanting students to learn more about precision ag or about agriculture. You could create an event, put in a description. We're going to be giving an overview of precision ag. We would like to invite 10 employers to come over. You could put in 10 as the number of attendees. You can put in all the information. You can put in a link. You could select all the employers that are in ag. Maybe you select all of the ones in ag and also any that are in services like auto mechanics or anything like that. And then you could send that out to students or send that out to employers. Then what you could do is go into your student list and basically type in agriculture, or if there are classes or experiences or hobbies or whatever that you think are a good fit. This will look for any student that has that class or that hobby or that activity in their profile. And then you can make sure that those students, once you have the list, you can download that. And then you can make sure that those students go to that event that you've just included employers to visit. And that's kind of how we're trying to help make this all really come to life and help make your lives easier, especially when it comes to connecting with employers. So you may ask, how do you get employers engaged if they're not engaged? So I'm going to go back into the Pro Center. And I'm going to go to this resources tab. Laura showed this a little bit, but we've tried to give you all tools and tricks and different things that you can use. So if you go to Compass, we have information here that you can use, whether it be a presentation with your students, a reference guide that describes all the features that I just walked you through, information for students about sponsorships. We also give employer resources, and they have access to some of this too. So like one thing we like to do is, how do we give employers access to templates like this that they can modify in Canva? So they might want to customize the backside with their logo and any opportunities that they're offering. But one thing we like is we encourage employers, bring this with you to a career fair. If a student is really interested in something you're offering, you can hand this to them. It tells the student how to get to your information. Maybe they can apply for a work-based learning or request a job shadow or whatever. And then if we can get employers more used to this and get them consistent, then it doesn't matter if an employer is at your school or if they're in Williston or Bismarck or Newtown or whatever. They are kind of having a similar experience, and then the employers are more likely to participate because they know that all these students are using Are You Ready and using Compass. The other thing that we'll do sometimes is if you'd like, we also provide templates that you can share with employers to get them signed up. And that is this flyer here. You can go to the North Dakota CTE Business and Industry site. You can download this flyer and send this to employers if you want. We have some things that some employers take advantages of us with related to kind of like advanced workforce development. But any employer can sign up for this. It's free. They can offer work-based learning opportunities. They can create connections with the schools. I'm not going to share with you the employer experience, but if any of you want to see that, let me know and we can schedule a separate time. But the biggest thing is really getting them to this website. Then they can learn more about what it's like to get involved, how they can do work-based learning. Are there other programs that they might take advantage of? And the cool thing about this is it also is really highlighting to the employers and to the students and to the parents and guardians that this is a statewide system, that we're really trying to drive more of those connections between schools and employers and students and colleges, and that this is something that that everybody is really encouraging people to take advantage of. And whether it's trying to drive retention strategies to keep students local by connecting them with local employers, or helping students learn about careers that maybe they never knew about. But the anchor of it is always the student information and their interest and their skills, and mapping them to those employers that they can do either through the Compass profile or through the interest inventory assessments that that Laura walked through at the beginning of the call. So I think I'm going to wrap my time up a little bit sooner. I don't want to overwhelm you with information, but I also think we wanted to have some time for questions. And either questions on what you've seen, or even questions on, okay, this is all great. How do I actually really use this with a student or with an employer? We'd love to answer any of those questions that you might have. So with that, I'm going to stop sharing. And then Laura, maybe I'll hand it back to you if you want to lead us through the wrap up and any questions.
All right. Well, thank you, Patrick. That was excellent. And you know, Compass was one of the best things that we've been able to add to Are You Ready? And Patrick, you worked tirelessly to update and improve Compass. So, okay.
And then,
Any questions that any of you have, you ask away. That's what we're here for. About Are You Ready? How to use it in the classroom, anything with Compass. Well, we must have just done an outstanding job, right, Patrick?
yes. Or we completely overwhelmed everyone with a lot of information, but we're going to say it's the first, Laura. We were awesome.
Well, even if you don't have any questions today, just know that we're both always available. You know, if you can reach out to me. If you can't find Patrick's contact information, I'll connect you to Patrick. And then just generally speaking, if you have any questions about North Dakota CTE and you don't know who to ask, you can ask me, because of course I work for North Dakota CTE and I'm connected to everybody here at CTE. But if there are no questions, let's see, I'm just going to double check that the chat is, yeah, it's just the AI, and thanks, Jessica, for confirming that you have no questions. But I suppose we can wrap up for the day.
I do have one more comment real quick, if I can, Laura.
Absolutely.
First of all, I want to just say thank you to all of you. Again, this is great turnout, especially on a Friday afternoon. Laura alluded to it, but we really do want to make this as simple as possible. So as you use Are You Ready or Compass or the Pro Center, if you have any feedback, if there's anything you'd like to see, please let us know. And then also, if there's anything that we can do on your behalf with the agencies that we partner with, or even employers that we work with. If you've got an employer that you've been trying to get involved and you're just not having any luck, please let us know, and then we can reach out to them, or we can leverage some of our relationships to get them involved. I'd love to see a world where we have thousands of employers participating in this world, all providing amazing opportunities to students and supporting the work that you all do, because you guys are on the front lines of our future. So I just want to say thank you all very much and let us know how we can help you all do what you do best, which is working with our kiddos. So thank you.
I just want to say thank you to Laura and Patrick for being here with us today and helping us learn more about the Are You Ready program. It's a very good program, and I and Candace use it quite often. So if any of you guys have any questions or need any help with any of it, you're always welcome to get in touch with me also. So thank you guys. It was very good. Thank you for helping us out today.
Thank you so
Absolutely.
much.
Thank you, Carol.
Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.
Thanks,
Have
everyone.
a great weekend.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.